Hi, Abel. Okay, so this is a bit of a mock-up for you. The fault that you are having on the autopilot, um, it should have disappeared if it's the fault that we know when you disconnect the battery and reconnect the battery. Yours, however, has not come alive. So I'm going to give you a fix that I think may solve it. Just check it and see if the autopilot comes alive in the way that I do it now. So where we think there may be a problem is on the power supply module, which is that module. So what we're going to do is we're going to bypass that. We have a stable 5-volt supply coming from the speed controller underneath of the board, which supplies the receiver, and we can use that also to supply the autopilot. So what you need to do is the following. You're basically going to remove the output from this power supply board, and you're going to wire where it says power. This is the input to the autopilot. You're going to take this cable and you have to fit it onto pin set 5 on the Minipix. So essentially just push down there and that should come out. Then you can bring this forward to look like that. You can take this side out as well. You basically got to pinch the top down and pull out. It's got a little clip there. All right, so really speaking, what you're looking at when you unwind this, you're looking at the reds and the blacks only. Okay, so if you separate these, so obviously negative, black's going to be your negatives and red your positive, and these two wires here are basically just sense wires. So you could remove them. If you have very good eyes, you can lift those little clips, but for now, I'm just going to snip them off. Slightly different lengths. One there and one there, just like that. All right, so essentially this cable has to go from here and arrive there. Now, the plug that goes in here, all these plugs that plug into these pin sets are regular servo plugs, basically three pin plugs. You can see like that they come on into servos. If you have a servo, that's great, you'd use it. But if you don't, I'm going to show you something that I think you may have, and that is with your radio you were supplied a little jumper like this. Now this is a programming jumper. It's basically for binding your transmitter to your receiver, but you really only ever use it once in its life. That's when it's new. And if you ever did rebind a new radio to it, you'd get a new cable. So no reason why you couldn't pinch this little jumper here and use it for this. What you do have to do though is you have to move one of these wires to the center, to where the center pin should be. And that is the positive leg. So whichever wire you move, that's going to become positive. Just basically lift a little plastic at the back, little clip, pull that out, and push it back in on the next one. That's going to be the center, and that will become positive. Right, oops, did it go in? There we go, that's it. So looking at it now, like that, it's in. The one in the center is positive. If I open the jumper, now I don't need it to be quite that long, so let's just say I cut it back about so much, and I take these, not do much the same thing, cut those all off. Sucker, that's not so good. Okay, now you're going to join these together. Okay, so those go together. Now this is a very rough arrangement. You can obviously solder it and put heat shrink and make it nice and short, make it exactly the right length. But this is just for you to try with to see if we can solve the problem. So now you join those two together, and taking your jumper, center now is positive. Oopsie, it's come out, didn't go in well enough. Okay, so before pushing the pin in, just make sure that you've bent the little plastic inwards so that it can catch on the frame. There we go, catch on the frame of the pin. My eyes are really bad. There we go. There we go. No, it's not. Oh, there we go. All the way in. Okay, so now it's catching well. All right, you can see they're both sitting correctly. All right, so obviously you hold the cable this time and peel back some of the sleeving. There we go. Same on that side. Right, bearing in mind that the center is positive. And for now, we can just use a piece of tape. I'll show you what a proper one looks like when it's made up neatly. But for now, this will suffice. Oh, same on this side. All right, so that is good enough for a test. Now that goes back in the side. It's the little clip that goes on top, so that goes in there. Click it in, and you bring this around. So the top will be vacant, so the very top pin won't have anything in there, and the very next one down must be positive. So bring it down so that you can get it into pin set 5. There we go. So before I connect the battery, just double check nothing in the top pin. You're on pin set 5, and then obviously you've arranged it so the center wire is going to red, and that now means that you're supplying the autopilot from this rail. This rail is being supplied by the battery eliminator circuit in the speed controller. It's a stable 5 volts, and we have established that there's no funny business when you supply it this way. So please do try it this way and let me know if there's any change to the display LED on your autopilot and if it fires up correctly. Thank you.